Hi, my name's John. I'm here for you.
I'm Sam. I'm here for you. Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm here for you.
Hi, I'm Byron. I'm here for you.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I'm here for you.
Hi, I'm Simon, and I'm here for you.
Hi, my name's Kristen. I'm here for you.
Hi, my name's Lance, and I want you to know that I'm here for you.
Hi, my name's Jade. I'm here for you.
We're here for you.
Awesome.
Good morning everyone and welcome to Gracegate Online. If you don't know me, my name is Megan and we are in the third week of our surprisology series this week. Super exciting. If you don't know, we've got 3 values here at Gracegate and they are belonging, discovering and engaging, and this series encompasses all 3 of them. So what we're doing is we're discovering surprisology, what it is, how we can do it, we're engaging with our community and we're getting out there and surprising them in some pretty incredible ways, and then we are also giving them a place to belong. Hopefully that's the result of the surprisology that we're going to be getting into this week. Another key part of our surprisology series is this little guide that we've got round and about Gracegate. You might have seen him, but he is the green man. And basically what he does is he's our reminder to get up, get out and move across the room out of our comfort zones, because it is actually out of our comfort zones where we're able to practice the best and most effective surprisology. Now this week is a super exciting week for Church Online because it's actually the first week where we're all able to meet together in each other's houses again. So we hope that you might have invited someone along to watch Church Online with you this morning. And if you feel comfortable, you could actually type into the chat right now. Let us know how many people are in your watch party. We have a little surprise for you guys. So whoever's got the highest amount, you'll be contacted by one of our team shortly to get your address, because we actually want to send you guys some pizzas to have for lunch after the program, just to say, hey, good on you, all together creating the vibe. We also have a couple of celebrations for you guys this week. First one was we had Food Truck Tuesday last week, and it was awesome to see so many of you guys out in the reserve together. Some good food, some good chats and some good connection. If you haven't made it to Food Truck Tuesday yet, you've got one more week to get over there and get with the rest of our Gracegate crew. Next week is going to be the final Food Truck Tuesday for this year, so we really want to see you there, big crowd all together, and it'll be cool to finish the year off strong. Our second celebration is we had our Radiate end of year party last Friday night, and they all kind of got together at Murray's Bay, had some good swims, some good games, and just finished off the year in a really fun way. So it was awesome to see them be able to get out and do that. All right guys, now we're going to go into our vlog for this week and see what Thomas and Walter and Georgia got up to. So hope you enjoy the vlog. See you afterwards.
Hey guys, it is great to see you. For those who don't know, my name is Walter, and I'm involved in some of our youth environments here at Gracegate.
I'm Thomas. I help out with some of the admin and special projects we're cooking up behind the scenes.
Yes, and speaking of special projects and cooking actually, this morning is a very exciting day because we are going to do some surprisology.
Absolutely. So surprisology is where we go out and love on businesses and community groups right here in the North Shore, right here in Tamaki Makaurau, that are doing fantastic things for the community, things that really need some heart and some love put into them. And so there's this great cafe, literally.
It's not just good, it's great.
It's great, just around the corner from us here in Sunnyside. And so we've got some love to go show these guys.
Yeah, so as a Gracegate community, we want to be serving our community, and these guys serve us on a daily basis. They do food, they do drinks, they're just an awesome cafe, lovely people. And this morning, we just want to go and surprise them. We've got a fragile bag here.
Fragile.
Which I've been told is filled with some of the best chocolate you will ever taste.
It's from House of Chocolate, so it's got to be good.
Yeah, Thomas, do you want to hold this?
I'm going to take that.
We've also got this to put on it.
We've got a bow.
A bow, and then we are going to be out of here. All right, so This cafe, and this is going to be our challenge for our Gracegate community, we want to see how much we can love on them in the next week or two. So if you haven't been, it's at the Sunny Nook shops. It's called the Great Cafe, and we want to see how many people at Gracegate we can get through the doors supporting our local businesses. Filled with chocolates, and we are ready to roll.
Look at that.
Ready to go.
Amazing stuff.
See you guys at the Great Cafe.
See you soon. Where are we going?
We are taking our package, our Fragile package, to the Great Cafe.
Woo!
Where's the Great Cafe located?
Hopefully Walter knows.
Hopefully Walter
Hello.
knows, over in Sunny Nook,
Hello.
Yes, we are heading down to the old counties.
Counties!
By the way, they've got some great Lego. If you haven't been to Countdown in a while, they've got these little Lego sets that'll change your life. And it's awesome. So if you think it's just for 4-year-olds, you're wrong.
We're gonna go in
right
now.
Right next to the good cafe. You've got the great cafe.
I'm cutting that out. That was terrible. Alright, and we'll see you soon.
Alrighty guys, so we are going for the old staggered approach because these guys don't know us at all and they might think we're really random, more than we actually are. So we are going to head in, one of us beforehand, and just explain to them what's happening, and then hopefully they will be a bit more prepared for what is to come.
Thomas and I are sending in Walter to do the difficult work, and we're just going to hang back and watch it go down.
Alright, if I don't come back, just you guys are on your own.
Okay.
Alright.
So we are waiting in the wings. kind of like, you know, a rugby player on the outside, just waiting for that touch.
Absolutely.
Waiting for that pass. So.
Yeah, so we're a very crucial part of this operation right now.
Very crucial part. So Walter has gone to approach.
Should we have a look?
Oh yes, we can. Walter has gone to let them know what surprisology is and you know, make sure that they are ready to be surprised.
Oh.
So we're just gonna let them know.
He's pointing at us.
We're waiting for the thumbs up.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
waiting.
We're waiting.
We're waiting. We'll see what we get.
Okay. And
We've noticed your photos on the wall, the community notice board, how much people just love you guys. Nothing but positive reviews on all the social media reviews for you guys. You guys make a real big impact in the local community, and we just wanted to honor that and just say thank you for what you do for the Sunny Nook community, for this area. So some chocolates on behalf of the community for you guys.
oh, thank you so much.
So guys, check out the Great Cafe. They've got some awesome cabinet food. Support them. Let's see how many people we can get through these doors in the next week or two.
Absolutely. See you guys at Great Cafe.
Thanks for joining us on our journey to Sunny Nook. As you can see, Thomas is already drinking his coffee. So let's see how many people we can get through the doors. It's actually a double win if you do. You get a warm, fuzzy feeling in your tummy and in your soul.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So is that right, Thomas?
Great Cafe, Sunny Nook, just beside Countdown over there. So hope to see you guys there in queue to go grab some coffee, grab some food from the counter, maybe even grab a sausage roll, eh?
What's your review though? How's the coffee? Or was it hot chocolate?
It was actually hot chocolate, so yes, thanks Georgia. Yes, it's fantastic. It is one of the best hot coffees on
Amazing.
the North Shore.
Amazing.
Come on. We'll see
Great
you guys
stuff.
soon, next week.
Bye.
How awesome to see those guys out in the community supporting the Great Cafe. It would be so cool if all of you Gracegate guys could get out there this week, get your morning coffee from the Great Cafe, or maybe pop in for morning tea or afternoon tea at some point during the week. It'd just be awesome to kind of get out there, show surprisology to those guys and really just love on them hard. We're going to head into a time of singing together now, so if you just want to sit back, relax, enjoy the music, sing along if you feel like it, and we'll see you after the program.
Welcome everyone. It is so good to know that we are praising with you here this morning. I invite you to get to your feet, get comfortable where you are and join us in some songs this morning.
Light up the way of your heart. Move me like you do the mountains. Move me like you do the wind. And I'll chase your voice through the dark. Fix my eyes on the unexpected. In the wonder of your shadow step. So take another step. You met me at the sinner's table. I found you waiting by the well, unexpected. You were always there, tracing all my steps. Light up the way of your heart. Move me like you do the mountains. Move me like you do the wind. And I'll chase your voice through the dark. Fix my eyes on the unexpected. In the wonder of your shadow step. So take another step. You never left the lost forsaken. Your mercy paves the road ahead, way. You never fail, so have your way. Hear God, and I'll sing your praise. Lift my heart to yours, ready for the unexpected, ready for what you will do next. So take another step.
Today we're grateful to have you guys joining us again on Church Online. And we decided that this week we want to do things a bit differently. Instead of just having one speaker share the message today, I've got some incredible people, some people that I honestly love. I get to work with them every day. And at times also possibly hate, I don't know, depending on, maybe hate's a strong word, I don't know. Dislike, sorry. It depends what sports team they're cheering for. But today we're just going to have a conversation about faith. And I've got some incredible people here. So if you don't know who they are and where they're from and what they're about, I'm going to intro them right now. So right at the end of the table, Vali, do you want to give us an intro?
Oh, I thought you said you were going to intro us.
No, I've just swung it straight back to you.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, my name is Walter. I have been coming to Graysgate for almost 5 years now. I was born in South Africa, grew up there, moved here when I was 18. Still support the Springboks.
Come on.
Probably will for the rest of my life.
Come on.
And
Number one in the world.
Yeah. And I work here at Graysgate, love what I do, get to work with some of the youth and some of our kids in youth environments, and that is pretty much me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Thanks, Vali. Bree?
Hi, I'm Bree. Thanks for giving it away, Wes.
Sorry.
I am born and bred Auckland girl, grew up in South Auckland for most of my life, and I actually only moved here to the shore to come work at Graysgate. So
Awesome.
lucky people. And yeah, I am generally a pretty high energy person, if you know me. And I love things like the outdoors, the beach. I love horse riding, and I love all things creative. And I am so, blessed to be able to work here and to have a job that I get to just come and be creative and hang out with young people and hang out with these guys. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And I think Bree's had some interesting nicknames apparently as well.
Are you going to throw on my nicknames?
At some point you can ask Bree about her nicknames.
Yeah.
Well,
You
now
guys-
would be a good time.
Oh, I was just going to say they could type it in the chat and I won't answer.
And they can make up some nicknames as well.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's cruel. Okay, let's move on to Shay.
Okay, hi guys, my name's Shay. I have been in Auckland my entire life, well actually not entire life, but 2 years that I spent in the UK. But I'm an Auckland girl as well, from South Auckland, just like Bree. And yeah, I've been part of Graysgate since we first ever started numerous amounts of years ago. That was really bad English, apologies for that. A very long time ago.
You are from South Auckland.
Oh! The banter's real today.
Shots fired.
I hope we can cut this, guys. Can we cut some of this stuff?
Anyway, guys, it's my turn to intro myself.
Yeah.
But yes, so I've been here for a very long time, and I am super privileged to be on team here, to be involved in worship, to be involved in events, women's ministries, and just to get to work alongside some real cool people and be in community with everybody.
Yeah. Awesome show.
Shay, didn't you have a random fact that you wanted to share with us?
Look, you didn't share your nickname, so I really don't think I need to share my random fact.
Otherwise, they're going to guess what your random fact is, and that's going to be worse.
Do you guys want to know it?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us.
It's actually not that interesting, really.
No, tell us.
Look, I have a bit.
It doesn't have to be an interesting one, just has to be a random one.
True.
Don't
So
laugh
go
at
for
me
it.
and don't
No.
tease me.
I won't laugh. Can't
But I
promise can't.
separate all my coloured M&Ms and Skittles into their colours because I can't handle eating the separate colours together.
Do they taste different?
It's not a taste thing, it's a colour thing.
Wow.
And that is exactly why we love to have you on team.
Thanks,
Shay.
Riz.
Exactly.
Good. It's very good.
George?
Yeah. Oh, look. My name is Jordan. I've been around the Grayscape for like 7 years now, which is cool. And I do a bunch of different things. Currently, I'm doing a lot of the video stuff for Grayscape and Church Online, which has been super fun. But yeah, I do a bunch of different things. And yeah, I've lived in a bunch of different countries. I'm not an Auckland girl,
Thank goodness.
like my predecessors. But yeah, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just thinking back to the word hate that I used. I definitely don't hate you guys. Okay.
I was gonna say,
Honestly,
Clarify.
really love them, and especially during this season that we've been in lockdown. You know, some of you guys on the programming team, and this is the team that works behind the scenes. George especially, and also obviously all our camera men and women behind the cameras right now, who are helping us so that you can sit comfortably on your couch at home and watch church together. So really privileged to have you guys here. But today, we want to speak about faith. We want to speak about something that all of us are passionate about, and especially in the context of the series that we've titled Surprisology. It's this word that, the study of surprise, and we've been looking at, I love the byline, we are here for you, and how that relates to the gospel, how that shows who God is, how God is there for each and every one of us, and how we want to be there for everyone else. So first up, when you think of surprisology, what comes to your mind?
I know, I just think of this movie that I was forced actually to watch numerous times as a child, called Pay It Forward, and you guys let us know in the chat if you have seen it before. But it is it's a really good movie. It's an old one, but it's basically this kid just goes on this journey that he starts doing these kind of random acts of kindness and generosity for others in his school and his community, and it ends up changing so many people's lives. And when I think of surprisology, that's what I think of, this idea of pay it forward and kind of the ripple effect that happens when we actually begin to do selfless things for the people around us.
Yeah, love it.
That's cool. Very good.
When you guys think of surprisology in the context of faith, what comes to your mind? What do you see? What's the picture you get when you think of that word?
Well, look, for me, the big thing that comes to mind is obviously Jesus, when it comes to faith. And you spoke about it in the first kind of episode of Surprisology of just the miracles that Jesus did and how, surprising it was. But then, not just those things, but even the way that he treated people and the way that he was so different to the culture of the time and even our culture now. But it was just so surprising. And so when I think of surprisology, I think of Jesus and the way that he just lived. And if we're called Jesus followers, if we say we're following Jesus, then that's the perfect example of a master surprisology. So you called him that. So yeah, I think of that in the terms of faith as well, which is cool. Yeah.
I much like George, think a lot about the miracles that Jesus performed and how he never performed the same miracle for the same person. He knew the need, he knew the want, and that's what he addressed. Yeah. And he didn't stand there, perform his miracle and step back and say, look at me, look at me. In fact, most of the miracles weren't seen by multitudes of people. They were done privately with a few groups of people or a few people around that saw them. And I think that's the epitome of surprisology and the master of surprisology. Yes. It's not about what I do, it's about what he's done for me that enables me to do that.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, that's
Love
so
it.
cool. And like you were saying, I just remembered the story of where I think it's one of Jesus's first miracles that he's with his disciples, and there's a leper that comes towards them, and Jesus heals him, and the leper is like, "Oh man, you've done this amazing." I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say "oh man" in the Bible, but he might have. Who knows? But he's thanking and praising, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, you are this Messiah. You are this person. You are God." And the one thing that Jesus asks him to do is not tell anybody about it. And I think when I think of surprisology, and when it comes to faith, and we've had chats about this before, but the whole thing of for me, I would hate that this whole thing of surprisology becomes a fad. I would, and I'm using the word hate because I would hate it so much because, like, you know, I don't know, it just, what did I say before? Oh, I said that it becomes this very selfish thing. And surprisology and the way that Jesus did surprisology was never selfish. It was selfless. It was always for the person. And like that whole thing of like, we're here for you. It's not we're here for you, in brackets, actually, I'm here for me kind of thing.
Yeah, just on that, like when you were talking about selfishness, I was just thinking, like, for me, in answering your question and how faith connects with surprisology, I feel like the temptation for all of us is often for our lives to kind of become about ourselves. And then, like, if faith really is this belief in someone bigger than yourself, then I feel like what surprisology does in our lives is when we kind of step outside of ourselves in sharing kindness or love with someone else, it kind of it widens our perspective to think bigger than just ourselves, and that's if we're the giver. But then even if you're the receiver as well, it's that moment where you receive kindness or a surprise from someone. It's almost that little way that you plug into God, this spiritual element where actually it's, wow, this is supernatural, this is awesome. Like, it's this, for the giver and the receiver, it's this opportunity to connect with someone bigger than yourself.
That's fire.
I find it really interesting because I'm not a lover of surprises, as each of you around this table knows. I like to know. I like to know what's happening and when it's happening. But I think as Jesus followers, like, we've been asked to make sure that people know they're valued. And I think regardless of if you like surprises or not, who doesn't like to know that they're loved, they're thought of, they matter, and that they value? And I think that is the epitome of Jesus' ministry. That's what he spent his whole life on earth doing, was making sure people knew they matter. And I think that's what we've been called to do, to follow in his footsteps.
I so love that, Shay. It's I'm just thinking of the word surprise now, and I just think of the facial expression on people's faces and the shock, and that is what, like, we hope surprisology is, that, you know, we're shocked by the incredible attributes that God gives in our lives, or as followers that we can actually share with others. Like, we're blown away, like, wow, like they forgave that person, or they shared grace, or they were actually kind to someone who hurt them. Like, that's what surprisology is all about. So we're all excited, passionate about that, because, I mean, it's basically Jesus living in and through our life, and then also seeing something happen. What do you guys think is the value of having faith and works? Why not just like faith? What's the value of seeing the works as well?
I think, like, using my little metaphor, it's kind of like, it's a little bit ridiculous, right? To have faith and have all of, like, the knowledge or know everything but not do anything about it. It would be like, as I said before, like, I love horse riding. It would be like if I tried to tell somebody how to ride and how to do this and how to have your legs, how to hold your hands, how to jump, whatever, but I couldn't do it. And I'd never actually sat on a horse in my entire life, and I was trying to tell someone else how to do everything because I knew everything. That's like a ridiculous thought. But that's essentially what it's like, having all of the knowledge and none of the action.
And it's then missing out on the best thing, which is actually riding the horse and actually experiencing, well, something that you haven't tried. And so love that metaphor.
That's good. That's awesome.
I think it's also, like, we speak a lot about, like, especially when we're planning our series or planning our content for a Saturday program, about how we can encourage people to apply what is being shared, because that's the step of faith. Faith isn't just sitting there knowing it, listening to it, and walking out of the doors of the church building on a Saturday. It's about what comes after that, and that works part of taking that step is actually, if not a little, anyway, it's important.
It is important.
And necessary in order to challenge yourself and move forward.
I personally believe that's the hardest part. It's the application. It's like living it out, because that's probably where we come out of our comfort zones And so last week kind of spoke a bit about awkward and being like, sometimes we intentionally need to put ourselves in spaces that are awkward, that are uncomfortable. Why do you think that's valuable in the context of faith and being a follower of Jesus?
I think for me, when I think uncomfortable, the first image that just kind of came to my mind was this image of Peter, and that you find in the Bible, like out in the water, in the ocean, in a boat, and then Jesus being out in the water and Jesus calling him in. And if I just think of everyone who was there that night, I don't think there was a person who grew more than Peter did. And it's because he was the one that was willing to step outside the boat and take that step of faith. But it did require that step of faith, that out of the comfort zone before the growth happened.
Yeah.
That's so true. I think, like, I always think of, I'm pretty sure there's a Pinterest quote or something that's like, life is better outside your comfort zone.
Pinterest coming through with the wisdom.
I'm pretty
Come
sure
on.
But it's so true, right? Like, the only way that we grow is by getting out of our comfort zone. And like you said, I think surrender is such a big part of it, like being willing to actually be vulnerable, and especially in faith, to give all of ourselves essentially to God and what he's asking us to do in every day, not just in the big moments. And I think often it's easy to surrender that first, like 80 or 90% of our heart or our life or our actions. But it's in that last 10% or 5 or 1%, like that's where he's going to do his best work and his most life-changing work in us. So being able to surrender that part, that's the hardest, but that's all we need to do. That's where life's going to be like, whoa, what is happening?
Exactly.
Like, mind-blowing.
I think of Peter, and again, I think of him stepping out of that boat, like the anxiety, the fear, the even the false beliefs, like the inner voices that maybe he's saying like, no, this is dangerous, this is uncomfortable, this isn't probably the wisest thing to do. But then that step in faith, and as he does it, he experiences something that he's never experienced in his life before. No one on the boat had ever seen anyone do that before as well. And I truly believe, like, when we do surrender, like you shared, Brie, that we're going to experience a whole nother level or dimension of who God is in our lives, and the difference that can make in someone else's life. So I love that.
I also think of another story of Peter when he was out fishing overnight with a whole lot of fishermen in his crew, and they didn't catch a thing the whole night they were out. And they came back to the shore on the morning, and Jesus was on the shore, and he told Peter to, go back out and cast your net onto the right side of the boat, or the other side of the boat. And these guys had been like, well, we're fishermen, we know what we're doing. Who are you to say, like, you know better than me? But all Peter said to him was like, but if you say so. And I think there's so much the obedience that Peter had to trust also in what Jesus was asking him to do. That also is stepping out of your comfort zone and knowing that, hey, like, this is what you're telling me to do. I'm just going to trust that you know what's better for me than what I know about myself, for myself.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I think I'm just thinking of like the difference that always makes. Like when we are obedient to someone who is as big as God is and like almighty and all powerful, like when we're listening to him, the crazy things he can do in and through our lives, there's so many opportunities when we just trust in God. And then also the outcomes up to him. So we're just surrendering, we're just obedient. I don't know how many times I've ignored that voice. I've ignored someone else will do it. This sounds like a good series, but that's for everyone who's a church person or anyone working at the church. But actually God wants to use each and every one of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we're from, no matter what we've done. He wants to use us now to do something significant. So I see that, as something that is incredible, and that's kind of the gospel. That's what the gospel is all about.
So true.
Guys, one of the things that we wake up every morning and we get to do is be a part of a church community. And we are passionate about the church, like capital C church, but we're passionate about Gracegate, not the building, but us as a movement, as a people who are coming together, looking after each other. What do you see in the church? Like, why do you value the church? What do you still see and hope to see in the context of church?
The first thing that comes to mind for me, and I don't think this is profound in any way, but it's just the phrase "people matter." Like, people matter to God. They are important to Him. There's not an individual who He's not deeply interested in every detail of their life, and because of that, church matters, because church is the people. It's people we walk past every single day in the street. It's like those are the people that He loves and cares for, and so it's because people matter that the church matters and what we do matter. And so I know that's just the phrase that stuck out for me, is that people matter, so the church matters.
So good.
I love that. That's kind of part of our vision here at Gracegate, is that we wanted to make sure that we're not making any obstacles or like putting anything that kind of blocks people from being a part of a church, because I think that's what kind of the church has had a negative name in doing, is that we always pointed out what we were against and not what we were for. And so, Gracegate, we always try and we say, like, hey, we're actually trying to make it not difficult for anyone who's actually turning towards God, anyone who's interested, anyone who wants to lean in a bit more. And I think that's why, we're so passionate about this place, about what church could be. What else? What else comes to your guys' minds?
Well, I love what both of you are actually saying in the terms of like not making it difficult, because as soon as you're talking about that, I instantly again think of Jesus. The way that He invited people that were outcasts, or that were far away, or that people hated, or whatever it was. Like, Jesus didn't see that. Jesus saw the person, right?
Yes.
And so no matter what, like, Jesus always moved towards the person. He never moved towards them because whatever it was because they were a person, they were His creation, and because He loves that. And so if we're calling ourselves Jesus followers, then that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be moving towards the person, not the situation or not the circumstance or whatever it is. Hey, you're a person, and because you're a person, you're created in God's image. It doesn't matter. I'm moving towards you. I love you regardless, And I think that's what the church is. And I love what you were saying in the terms of, I think for a long time, the church, big church, not necessarily Gracegate, we've made that mistake of like saying, oh, that type of person shouldn't come. That type of person isn't welcome here, or that type of person can't find Jesus. And I think that's one of the things that breaks Jesus' heart, when He's like, no, it's all people. People come, we're here for the people, And so when I think of church, it's just people. It is, and don't get me wrong, it is God as well, right? It is communicating God, it is worshiping God and all sorts of stuff, but it's also this amazing opportunity for people far from God to experience Him. That might have had bad experiences, to come and experience Him and see that there is a God that does love them,
One of the things I love about this community in particular is the amount of times I hear that someone's come in for the first few times that they've ever visited, and they walk out, and the first thing they say is that they felt like they found a place where they belonged, and they were seen and they were noticed. That's so good. And I think, like, how cool would it be if our whole city, every single person that walked through the streets of the entire city felt that because of what, what the church can do in the lives of people. What the church has the amazing opportunity to change the lies that people have been told about who they are and about themselves. And like, how cool would the city be if everyone knew that and felt that?
The wall that we have in our foyer, Shay, we got all those awesome quotes. One of my favorite, and I know you love them all, but one of mine is, let's see what God can do through your life. And that's uniquely each one of us. We're all different. We're all wired different. We all have a different past. We all have an even different future. but the church is where we come together as a collective, and like there's a unity that we're all together, even though we could have different, beliefs still, we could enjoy different things, but there's a unity based upon our trust in a God who cares about each one of us, and then like seeing and trusting in God and seeing what He can do through us. Like that's what I love about church. That's what gets me excited, because I know there's still like the best is yet to come. There's still more, like each of us, there's still more that God wants to do in and through our lives. So yeah.
That's cool, man.
I remember Bill Hybels, he always used to say, the church is the hope of the world. And I believe that, because it's us as a community, the more we can come together, the bigger the difference we can make. And that's what we always stand for. We always say, hey, we are here for you. We're not here to make a point, but we actually here to make a difference. We want to make a difference in people's lives. So on that note, I want to ask us, what is the stuff that breaks your heart? Like what really just doesn't sit well with you, and you wish you could just see the church arise and do something about it? What is it that breaks your heart?
This is very, sounds general, but I mean it. But like really broken people, or especially young people for me, that have never been told, like we were saying before, like they've never been told that they matter. They've never been told, actually, there's a God who loves you. There's a community who loves you. There's a purpose for your life. I feel like I was so lucky enough to be raised in a Christian home, and even though I didn't always have the best faith or the best journey with God, there was actually never a point in my life that I doubted that I didn't have a purpose. But I know there's so many people out there that is not true. And I think that's why, kind of going back to the last question, that's why I'm so passionate about and why I love this community, is because I feel like it's through kind of this collective and unified passion, or people's ideas or what they can do in this community. That's why we have, holiday programs, and it's why we have youth groups, and why we have young moms and supported living, and all these different elements where people are practically getting into the community to actually walk alongside people who are broken, and to tell them, actually, do you know what? You matter. Yeah. God loves you. There's a purpose on your life. And I think that is that's the twofold thing of that's what makes me be oh man, this I feel for you. Yeah. But also that's what gets me out of bed, and is okay, let's what can we do today? Even if it's something like dancing with the kids. I know, if it's that we can say to these kids hey, you're an amazing dancer, you're such a cool kid. Yeah. What if they haven't heard that before? Yeah. That's so meaningful. Yeah. And I love that. Yeah.
And that is making a difference. We see that, just those things that kind of seem insignificant, are so significant, and we see the difference that is making. So love that. Yeah. What else? What else are you guys thinking when you think of what breaks your heart?
I think for me, one of them is people not realizing that they have potential themselves. We all sit here and we often say that, man, that person's got so much potential. If only they could see what we see. Yeah. And I think that for me is what gets me out of bed every day, knowing that, hey, if I have to go and listen to the same story on repeat, I'm going to do it, because that's what matters for that person, and that's what they need in order to be able to see that their life matters and they have potential. That's the thing that, that really breaks my heart so much.
Yeah. And I think along the same lines, the thing that breaks my heart, and it sounds so churchy, or sounds so oh yeah, that's of course what you'd say, because you work for a church. It's actually people that don't know Jesus. Yeah. Genuinely, that is the thing that breaks my heart, or have such a skewed view of who Jesus is. And I remember sitting down. I was studying in Australia at the time, and I was sitting down on the couch watching The Passion of Christ on Easter, and I was oh wow, this is a great movie. Watching and then there was this moment where I was just man, people don't really know what Jesus has done for them. like what he's actually done for them and actually continues to do for us now. And it's along the same lines of like what you and Shay were talking about in the terms of like people's potential, or just knowing that they're loved and things like that. Like the world or people or whatever it is have said these lies to these guys, right? And we experience that as well. But the fact is, like, there is actually a God that is out there that is actually waiting to scream the truth to you. Do you know what I mean? And like actually, there's a God that just wants you to know the truth of like who you are. Like, I created you, and you are worthy, or you are loved, or you are special, or whatever it is. And it breaks my heart when people kind of go, I don't want that. I'm just going to listen to the lies. That's the thing that breaks me, because Jesus is out there, God's out there going, but please, please, this is the truth. This is the truth, you know?
And that's the value of the church as a community, is because we're all screaming for everybody, and we're screaming the truth. We're like, you know, when we gather together, I love that, because like we are even, you know, be it in worship or whatever, we're proclaiming truth, and it's like allowing like all those liars to fade away, the enemy to flee away as well, and we're starting to like actually walk in our calling, in who we actually, you know, are. We're discovering our worth, and we're like, hey, I mean, there's so much more that God can do through us. So yeah, love that. Do you want to say?
Can I just say, like, you know, we're talking about like what breaks our heart, right? For me, the thing that brings my heart like the greatest joy, and I know this is the same for all of us, is when people actually like believe it. Like when they go, I think that's right. And they start believing the truth. And the transformation that comes through that is epic. Like, I'm getting like shivers down my back thinking about it now. I'm like, yes, because we've heard the stories of like people going, yeah, but that's the truth, and it's obviously a lie. But then there are the stories of like people going, yeah, that's the truth, and that's Jesus speaking to me. And you can see this shift, and you go, oh my goodness, yes, bro, you get it. And the transformation that comes from that is just epic. Yeah,
that's the surprisology, right?
That's it.
And that's what I love about like just, I mean, even in our own church community, we've seen over the years so many people walk through these doors and find community, find their worth, and like, man, some are just like, they're like being rocketed forward in their potential and what they can do in this world. So that's cool. All right. Question I want to ask you guys is, speaking about surprisology, how has Jesus surprised you personally? Like what has been the significance of seeing Jesus, like being in a relationship with him? How has that added value to your life?
Just like looking at the question.
And Walter's answer.
I know it's long, but like yeah. What comes to your mind?
Well, what I was just thinking about when you asked that is, I think one of the things for me is how God consistently brings beauty out of difficult situations. There's a verse in the Bible, and we sing it as well, where it talks about he brings beauty from ashes. And I think when I look at my life, it's often been in the times of greatest suffering or trial or insecurities, or wherever there's pain or hurt or challenges or insecurities, whatever it is, it's often in those very things that God steps in and does something incredible. But I think the surprising thing, and this ties in with surprisology, is that how often it's not possible for us to see it in the moment. In the moment, we are just walking through what feels like a storm, but it's often only looking back. Like, I was just thinking, there's like a type of embroidery or something you guys might know that like you
is this one of your hobbies?
I forgot to say
you know what it's called.
That's the fun fact about me.
Walter loves his cross
stitching. Okay.
But where you do it from behind, and then you kind of flip the picture, and then you see this incredible thing, but it looks like chaos and a mess. And then when you flip it around, it's the surprise factor. And I think, like, for me, when I think about God, it's just this this God that often works in the mysterious where things look confusing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's that surprise element where you look back and you're like, actually, God has been faithful through that season and this and this.
Yeah.
But we often only see it looking back.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
Love that,
I think for me, one of the things that I've kind of like noticed God kind of working through. That was the question, right? Yeah? Okay, good. Or surprised you, that's it. I got there in the end. But I think the one thing that I like, and it kind of links up to what Walter's talking about as well, is just the word like transformation. And this is the season that I'm in currently, but just noticing, those seasons in life where it has been difficult. But just in the reflecting time, noticing the transformation that's come from that, whether that's a heart change, whether that's a head change, whether that's actually like living it out, like whatever it might be, like seeing that transformation come. And again, like I think it was written in Romans where Paul's talking about like the transforming of your mind. And truly that's for me, that's the way that God has surprised me recently, is just realizing actually the way that Jordan would have reacted when he was 23 years old is completely different now. Genuinely, I've been transformed, which is awesome. And I think that's the thing that surprised me the most. And it's caught me like, wow, cool, amazing.
And that we're still growing, that we're all still following. And
absolutely.
And I would say that like in the context of my faith journey, like Jesus has really shown up in ways where I really looked down upon myself, did some stuff that probably didn't want to do, found forgiveness, found worth, found like, whoa, God can still use me. Get the privilege to, pastor at Gracegate, and it's like, wow, if that is who Jesus is and still the way he sees me, like he could use anyone. And so, that's one space where I've seen God surprise me. And also, I've experienced miracles in my life. I've seen people, their lives transformed, and I know, God is real. Like, sometimes we're just focused on maybe the physical and doing it through our own strength. And we lack that there's actually the spiritual, like there's actually a God who can do the supernatural. I've loved that, seeing and experiencing that firsthand. Is a place where, definitely love that of God. Any of you guys?
I think, I was just thinking about this now. I think for me, this maybe is going to sound random, but the way that God has been working in my life is like pass the parcel. You play that game and it's like layer by layer, like little surprise by little surprise throughout my journey. Like I feel like I've never really had like this one big present that I've unwrapped and it's changed my life. Like I've not had that experience, but I've had the pass the parcel experience where it's little by little. And I can remember like there was a time in my life where in my early 20s, late teens, whatever, for about 5 years, I kind of was like, had stuff happen and I was like, actually, I don't believe this God thing anymore. Like, it's not real to me. It doesn't make sense. It's not true for me anymore. And through that time, like, it was, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like unwrapping like each little layer by layer and like rediscovering a fresh God that actually was so much more real and there for me. And more meaningful. And I think a part of that comes back to what we were saying about church. Like, the crazy thing is, even though I didn't, I kind of like left the whole God idea, I loved the people, so I kept going to church for selfish reasons. So I had friends. No, I had other friends, guys. But like it was through those people and through things that like only God could do in ways that only God could speak back into my life that he took me on this surprising journey of faith.
And I love also what you're sharing, Brie, because I think for some of us we can be a part of a church or we can attend church all the time for most of our life. and think we've arrived and we know everything about God, and actually still miss out on the more, on the surprisology, on what God still wants to do in our and through our lives. So love that. Like, you know, today there may be some church people watching, and like maybe this is where God is actually inviting you to take that leap of faith and like actually surrender that, or trust me, I still want to do so much more in and through your life. So Shay, how about you?
Well, I don't know, as you guys are all talking, I'm like, what one do I share right now? Because I feel like there's been, much like Brie, like it's definitely been a pass the parcel situation where there's been little surprise after little surprise. But there's also been some like bigger ones for me that, like I guess he's kind of showing exactly who he is and who he sees me as. And I think, I guess the main surprise for me is that he's always been constant. No matter what choice I've made, no matter what pathway I've chosen. I mean, I put him in a box for 2 years when I went to London. I decided that, I had not lived the life that everybody else was living because I had been to church my entire life. And not that I had a relationship with Jesus my entire life, but I'd been to church my entire life. And so when I went to London, he was put in a box. I literally physically locked him up in it, that he wasn't coming out. And, those whole 2 years I was gone, he would every now and then tap on the box, and I'd put him back in it. He's not allowed out yet. But he still remained faithful, and he still kept tapping until just before I was about to come home. And, each of those little taps were one of those small surprises where he's like, I'm doing this now because in a year's time, when you come back to New Zealand, this is the path that I have for you. And, that path, I said this to you guys the other day, I think, like, we all can attest to the fact that 10 years ago, I'm saying that because I'm older at the table.
You're not.
But like 10 years ago, if you'd said to me that I'd be sitting at a table with you guys on the 9th, I think it's the 9th of December today, speaking about faith and about how constant God has been, I would have said there's no way. And that's him saying, I see you, I hear you. And I've got a bigger picture and the more on the outside of your comfort zone, because doing this is not my comfort zone.
No,
so he's done it. He's got it.
That's so awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
As we end today, I don't want to end because I love these conversations about faith.
Yeah.
But we have a whole different range of people maybe listening today. To end, how would you like to encourage them or challenge them in the context of surprisology or faith?
Okay, I read this devotional last week, and it finished and it asked the question, how do you need God to show up for you today? And I love that, and maybe that's the question, like, you need to ask yourself. But I thought, what if we flipped that though? What if we said, actually, do you know what? God shows up for me every day, all the time. Like, he's so faithful. So where do I need to show up for God today? So if that's our challenge, actually, like, where do I need to show up for God? Where do I need to speak to this person or love this person more or stand where God tells me to stand? I don't know, whatever it is. Like, where do I need to show up for God today?
So good.
So good, Brie.
I think of just the story of there's a paralyzed man who's waiting at this pool. It's found in one of the Gospels, not sure which one. He's waiting there most of his life, probably about, I think it's like 38 or 39 years. And there was this belief that the angel of God would come to the pool, stir it, and the first person in would kind of get healing. And so this paralyzed man sort of waits there his whole life trying to get to this pool to find healing. And then Jesus turns up and he actually has a conversation with me and he says, hey, do you want to be healed? Do you want to walk? And he says, yes. And he says, well, pick up your mat and walk. And the guy trusts in Jesus and he does that and he finds healing. And I always think about it like for most of his life, he was looking at the pool for healing as the physical, like this is going to bring my healing. This is going to give me what I want. And he never ever had anyone to carry him to the pool. Like probably if he did, he would have found healing a lot quicker. But then Jesus comes and he pretty much shares what you just shared, Brie. He like flips the script. He changes the perspective of someone looking at like the physical to like the spiritual and saying like, hey, there's something so much more and all you got to do is trust me, like have faith in me. And so like today, like my heart is for surprisology or faith being lived out, because we can see that God is real and He does something in and through us. And maybe it's just about like, hey, let a God like shift your perspective and just trust Him, like rely on Him, you know.
So good, Liz.
Yeah, look, I think for me it comes along the same kind of lines, and in its most simplest form is like just try it, just try it, because for me, I know that most of the time the thing that's stopping me is like this element of the unknown, or like I'm a bit like nervous about it or whatnot. I was chatting to my dad the other day about fixing something on my bike, and in my head I had built it up into this really, really difficult thing. And then I spoke to my dad about it, and he was like, oh, yeah, no, we can do it. And I was like, oh, I don't know about it. I'm so nervous and all these different things. And then one day we went and fixed it, and it literally took about 5 minutes. Like, we'd done it in 5 minutes. I was like, oh, that was actually so easy. Like, what's that? And I think people, even myself in the beginning, you know, we kind of build this whole thing of like, you know, following Jesus or Christianity or whatever you want to call it, like as this really like big stressful thing, and we worry about it and we like concerned about it and we overthink it and all of that. But actually sometimes all we got to do is just try it.
That's awesome.
Just go and try it, man. And like with that, like there's really nothing to lose. Like there's no losing in this situation. If it works, then wow, you realize that there is this amazing God that loves you, and there's this potential that's unlocked. And if you find that there's nothing for it, then okay, cool. You know,
you don't lose anything.
You don't really lose anything.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Try it. Just try it.
I would say that God doesn't want your cleaned up version. You don't have to work on yourself before you come to Him. That's what He's for, and that's what He's done. And, you know, like there's story after story after story in the Bible of each person that He used. You know, we spoke about Peter before. Peter was the guy who Jesus told him, and with his words, that you were going to deny me 3 times. And Peter said, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. And he still did. You know, so like, the Bible's full of characters people who have done the worst things in life, who have lived in craziest situations, and Jesus was the one that changed them. So I would say, don't try and clean yourself up. That's not what He's waiting for. He's saying, I'm here today, and all you have to do is say, I'm here. That's it.
Sorry, along the lines of that whole, like, you don't have to clean yourself up, I literally just thought of the story where Jesus heals this blind man, and He actually like dirties him even more. Like he goes and he like takes the mud and he puts it on his eyes. It's like, okay, you're making me even more dirty, you know, kind of thing. And Jesus moved towards them. So I love that. I think that's awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, I was just thinking when you asked like, how would we challenge people? I don't know, what just came to my mind was that life will do that for us. Like life will challenge us already. Like I just know even people in our community, like there is hurt, there is pain, there is like loss, like massive loss for people. And so when you're asking what breaks my heart, like that breaks my heart, that like there are people in like pain in our community. And I think what I would just say to that is that when I've looked into my life, when like God has been faithful throughout, and like actually this is probably it, that there is beauty unfolding in our lives all the time, and God is the author of that beauty. God is leaving His fingerprints on our lives. Like He is doing something bigger than we can think or dream or imagine, and we just have to ride the wave. Like it's in the midst of all those things, those challenges, those insecurities, that God will meet us, and we can just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So good.
That's so good.
Guys, I have honestly loved just speaking about faith and about church, because this is what we're passionate about. And I think what you're sharing, Vali, is that there's a huge need out there. And God actually wants to use us. Like he doesn't, do supernatural things all the time, but He uses the insignificant human being to actually move and make a difference in someone's life. And that's what the church is for. That's what we're all for. That's what everyone who's listening at home That's what you're for, is like God wanting to use you, and value not only what you guys have shared today, but the way you guys live your life. Passionate about who Jesus is and passionate about making a difference. I've seen that, throughout every area that you guys serve in. It's not a job, at Gracegate for you guys. You actually are dedicated to, really, you give your heart and soul. And I know it's because there's a bigger why. It's not about, just being part of a staff team here, but it's actually about being part of a movement that is helping people in their lives. And so I thank you for, just having conversations today, but also most importantly for what you guys contribute to our community. Love that. And today, I'm just going to end with a prayer. So thanks for joining us, and we'll end with a prayer. Father God, I just thank you so much that we can speak about faith. And honestly, we could continue for hours because the more we speak and converse about it with friends, the more we understand, the more value we see in it. We also have seen and experienced these things at firsthand. And today I know that there could be someone listening and, they're just standing on that border or that boundary of their next step in their faith journey. And I pray that they'll just be obedient, that we'll just be obedient, that we'll just, keep growing in our faith journey, just keep following you step by step and discovering that there's so much more in our relationship with you, and also so much more that you want us to do in this world to meet needs. So we pray that our community, our church can just grow stronger together, that we will continue to be a place of belonging, a place of discovering more about ourselves and about God, and also a place of engaging where we're not just bystanders, but we're actually all getting in the game, and this game of surprisology where we can make a difference. So we just thank you for this time together today. We praise you for who you are and what you're doing in and through our lives. So thank you, Jesus. Amen.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that program as much as I did. Thank you to the team for just sharing with us a little bit more about surprisology and why it actually matters so much. As we saw earlier in the vlog, this week your guys' challenge is to just get out there into Sunny Nook at the Great Cafe and just go and surprisology all over them, show them lots of support, build them up, encourage them, and just really get out there and practice some great surprisology. Just a reminder that we have our Christmas program coming up. So this year we're actually having our Christmas program on Christmas Day, which is super exciting. So on the 25th at 10 a.m, make sure you tune in for Christmas Online. It's going to be a creative retelling of the Christmas story, and it's not going to be one that you want to miss. So make sure you get there with your family and watch that on Christmas morning. Last but not least, we do have our final Food Truck Tuesday for the year happening this week. So it'll be awesome to see you there, some good food, some good chats, and it will just be great to be there all together. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we're glad that you joined us this morning.
you.